Faeries has had a rough go since the inception of Modern. Even with the unbanning of something like Bitterblossom, the deck has still never been that competitive. It just never seems to keep ahead against most of the field. In my experience, the deck just struggles to close out games. It doesn't really have a good filtering mechanic or card draw mechanic, and its best removal spell costs 2, which in Modern honestly just costs too much. But this past year we have seen a number of new tools that help black-based control decks, and specifically I think they help Faeries. Will these tools help to make a Faeries deck tier 1? I don't know, but I'm excited to give it a shot. So let's take a look at 2017's Blue-Black Faeries list. Before I give you my opinion, I want to ask you one question. What are the 2 best removal spells in Modern?
If you said Path to Exile and Lightning Bolt, then we're in total agreement. Yes, you could make a case for something like Abrupt Decay for its versatility, but the 1 casting cost for Path and Bolt help propel many Modern decks. For the longest time, if you were a tempo or control deck and you weren't playing either of these 2 removal spells, you were probably struggling. So this all leads me to the card that I'm most excited to play for 2017, Fatal Push. And I'm not the only one. Many better players than me have already talked about this card at length.
Fatal Push is probably the most important card to come about in Modern in recent memory.
Yes, there are some decent black removal cards out there, but the difference between a Doomblade that costs 2 and this card that costs 1 cannot be underestimated. Faeries players have tried to incorporate 1 casting cost removal spells in the past by splashing white or splashing red or green, but by doing so they end up destabilizing their mana base. In a deck where you need to stay ahead of your opponent, tapping to pay 2 for removal can completely negate your tempo advantage.
So are you like me and you have some Smugglers Copters that are just completely worthless? Guess what? They work super well in a Faeries build.
Okay, so this is nothing new. Faeries players have been running Smugglers Copter as a 4-up for a few months now, and it's mainly because it fits so well into Faeries. Crewing the Copter with a Summoning Sick token gives you a 3/3 flying body that also does something a tempo deck desperately needs: card filtering. I don't know how often I've drawn a Thoughtseize in the late game, or top decked my 4th Bitterblossom when my life total is already at 4 or 5. The Copter is obviously great, apparently too great because it was banned in Standard, but putting it in a Faeries build makes perfect sense. It puts your opponent on a faster clock while helping you to dig to more important cards to keep control of the board. So with all of this filtering happening, you're going to have times when your graveyard is unnecessarily filling up. I think running delve spells like Tasigur or Murderous Cut helps with dealing with unruly Tarmogoyfs and keeps the tempo clock going. The other not so obvious pick for my Faeries list is Collective Brutality. It's the sorcery card that has multiple modes that makes it at times as good as a Cryptic Command.
The rest of your deck is a basic Faeries list.
I run cliques of the Mistbind and Vendillion sort, Spellstutter Sprite, Bitterblossoms, you know, your basic Faeries package. Oh, and my ultimate troll card that I absolutely love. You can judge me if you want, but I main deck the heck out of Shadow of Doubt. In combination with Ghost Quarter, you can very easily have a strip mine effect, and stopping your opponent from fetching is just glorious. Sideboarding is pretty flexible, and there are plenty of slots for your local meta.
So what do you guys think? Am I crazy for thinking that Faeries now has a shot at being tier 1? Okay, maybe not a tier 1 deck, but at least a competitive deck? Maybe just a deck that I'll have fun playing. Are there other new cards that work within a Blue-Black Faeries list? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and I will see you guys next time.